Welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name's Noelle, aka MakeupEsquire, and today I'm going to be doing a quick get ready with me, and I figured we can do a holiday edition since the holidays are coming up. And I thought, hey Peach, Kat's up in here. How are you, girl? Thanks for joining the live. And so yeah, I thought maybe we can do a red lippy. Hey Didi Mona, how are you, girl? Thanks for joining. I was kind of thinking maybe we can do, hey son, how are you? Thanks for joining the live. I hope everybody is having a lovely Sunday so far. I thought we could do a red lippy look today. And for foundation, I pulled out my good old Chanel Le Beige since it's a good color for me. Yes, Keisha's up in here. The whole gang is here. Hopefully Brittany pops in soon. This is a good shade match for me right now because when I looked back at the footage from last live, y'all were too nice and didn't say anything. But hey Brittany, how are you? Thanks for joining. This McCreen Active Skin Tint, I understand, was like a tad too dark for me, and I was kind of noticing that when I saw the footage back, just because I didn't have any self-tan on either. It's a good shade for me when I'm self-tanned, but because my self-tan is kind of wearing off, I have the shade here, BD41 in the Chanel Le Beige, so it's nice and glowy. I thought it might be good. I've also been using the Tom Ford foundation stick. I'm in the shade Tawny, kind of alternating. I have been enjoying the new Dior one though, I will say. I'm just kind of trying to switch it up here, and I don't think I've used the Chanel Le Beige one on live. Yeah, it was perfect timing because I had just said I hope we see Brittany soon because the whole crew is here. You love both of those foundations? Yeah, I don't blame you. And if y'all didn't know, the Tom Ford one supposedly is getting discontinued, so I was able to pick up a couple backups at the cosmetics company store outlet near me. If you have one near you, I would recommend suggesting going to find it. Between the Tom Ford one, if you're familiar with the formula, and the Dior one, the Tom Ford one is a little bit less glowy. It doesn't have a scent to it like the Dior one has a pretty strong scent. I enjoy both of those, so I do think that we can live with the Tom Ford one being replaced by the Dior one. Just poured out a little bit of the Le Beige foundation on here. Maybe we can start with a nice base. Just going in with this, it's like a duo fiber stippling brush. This is the Sephora 64. You gotta back up to son of the Tom Ford foundation stick. Yeah, it's a shame that they're discontinuing it. Maybe they're reformulating it. We were heartbroken over that, and then their fiber brow gel as well. Tom Ford has such a great fiber brow gel that they discontinued as well. I also was able to pick one of those up at the cosmetics company store. She just said her Cowboys won and the Bears play tonight. I had to put air in my tires. It's been cold here, so the pressure dropped. Where do you live again, Keisha? Remind me. Brittany was actually paid for that bit. Noelle knew the whole time. That's funny. Did you get the new Tom Ford Black Diamond quad? Do you know what? I did. I had to think for a second. I got so much makeup during the recent Sephora sale, and I haven't even used this Black Diamond yet. Hey Devin, welcome to the live. How are you? That's this Tom Ford Black Diamond Sun. She's pretty, huh? And then I don't know, but I'm kind of thinking maybe we can do like a red lippy today, and then maybe like a gold eyelid. It's quite festive, isn't it? I'm thinking maybe I can use the shade Honey in the Victoria Beckham singles. Since this is one that I did pick up recently, it looks like that. And I thought that that would be a really pretty all over the lid shade for this look. You're in the Chicago. Ooh, girl. Yeah, Chicago area. I don't envy you. I'm sure it's freezing. I have a backup of the Tom Ford stick too, says Keisha. I thought it was being repackaged. Is it actually being... I hope it's being repackaged. I don't know. All I've heard is that it was being discontinued, but let's hope. I mean, what's wrong with the packaging? Like, right? I like the packaging on it. I don't think necessarily that it like needs to get any better. Some luxury beauty companies have just been trying to, I guess, get like quote unquote cleaner with their ingredients, so I kind of just assumed maybe that was it. Forget the quad, you end up picking up the Danessa Myricks highlighting palettes. I don't have any of those palettes. I don't have that much Danessa Myricks. I do have the two of her The Groundwork Neutrals palette. Hey All Food A Lover, welcome to the live. I hope you can stick around. Thank you for joining, Sober Sense. I should use my Tom Ford quads more because I just love them, but I've also been enjoying my YSL quads. Those two are like like my favorite eyeshadow quads. It's warmer today at 45 degrees, but it was 8 degrees with sub-zero wind chill last Thursday. Oh no, I don't know how you do that, girl. I can't live somewhere cold like that. No way. I'm such a baby for extreme temperatures in general because I grew up spoiled here in Ventura County. It's known to be like the best weather year-round on average. You would love those palettes. Interesting. I'll have to check them out. It's also probably going to go up $45 when it's re-released. Oh, did they take them off the market recently that they're going to re-release them? Oh, you're doing your makeup too, twinsies. Where are you going, girl? I'd love to know. Yeah, 45 degrees is cold AF. And I know you don't live far from me in the valley, so. Hey, Alicia, thanks for joining the live. How are you, girl? Happy Sunday, everyone. I'm putting on the Chanel Le Beige foundation right now. I'm in the shade BD41 for anybody that missed it. That's all I've done so far. Before this, I did put the Prada primer on, this one. I've been liking it. I've been enjoying it. So this is what I have on right now. Hey, Luncheon78, how are you? Thank you so much for joining the live. Okay, so now that we have these two babies on, I feel like kind of just going in right away with this honey shade. I'm curious to know how y'all apply this, if any of you have any of these. I find that applying with my fingers gets me the best outcome, but with like longer nails, sometimes it's just not always the easiest. I probably should have primed or put something down before. I guess so excited and just went in right away. Hey Sylvia, how are you, girl? Thanks for joining the live. Happy Sunday. I just put on the Chanel Le Beige foundation and now I'm putting on the Victoria Beckham. This is the Lid Luster in the shade Honey. It's gold, but not too gold. It's kind of like a burnished gold. I want to try to put it on with the brush on this side to see the difference. I really should have put down at least some concealer, but I thought, no, let me do my concealer afterward, just in case I have fallout. And I'm trying to now look for a good brush to use. Tea Squirrel with Weasel. Thank you, thank you, thank you, all food lover. Yes, the new Eyeshadow ones. Yes. During my last live, I used this big one to lay down the one and done eyeshadow that I used in the last live. And I'm just using like the smaller version right now. Hey Duda07, thank you for joining the live. How are you? So I'm just applying the glitter shadow. So I was asked by somebody who uses the same lashes as me how I apply eyeshadow without getting them all over my eyelashes. And I just said that like I kind of just try to tilt my head because I'm wearing Lashify eyelash clusters. So when it's like a really sparkly formula, I just kind of tilt so that hopefully most of the fallout goes this way and not on my eyelashes. This brush applied that quite well. I don't know why it's always so hard for me to Tea Squirrel with Weasel to remember what these brushes are. It's getting, my brush collection is kind of getting to the point where it's like out of hand and just hard to keep track. I'm just dipping back into the glitter. I really want to build this up. I love that everybody's here. Same here, Noelle. I quit memorizing what bristles are what and where made by who. Yeah, exactly. It's just hard to keep track of. And especially like it's these weird mixes that like we don't see all the time. Those get me. So I have to remember Tea Squirrel with Weasel. Like what the heck is Tea Squirrel? You know what I mean? Maybe I was thinking like tea dyed squirrel, but squirrel is already like dark though, unless it's like a reddish. And it's not like it's made obvious by looking at the brush itself. I think that's part of the problem. Okay, so I think we got like a good first layer on. So now I think I want to go in with concealer at this point because like it's just weird for me to look at myself with eyeshadow and not concealer. Do you get keratin treatments for your hair? Thank you for asking. No, I don't do keratin treatments, but I do Brazilian blowouts. So a Brazilian blowout is kind of similar to a keratin treatment, but the effect is similar, except maybe it's less damaging to the hair. It isn't as intense, so the treatment coats each strand. Hey Natsufude, thanks for joining the live. I'm talking about the Brazilian blowout treatment I get done to my hair. If so, did it take away all your curls? No, that's what I like about the Brazilian blowout is I could still wear my hair curly, which it is naturally. It has a good wave to it. My hair is gorgeous. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It doesn't take the curl like fully out of it. So it's exactly, the effect is similar, but it's not as harsh as keratin. Let's go, Brittany, coming in with the knowledge, because this is the area where I struggle. I'm not an expert on hair, but it's formaldehyde free too. Not to say that it's like clean or anything. And it protects it from heat. It makes it shiny. It makes it silky. It kind of relaxes the curl, but my hair is curly enough to where like it definitely still holds a curl. When I use heat products on it, it can certainly still hold a curl. And then when when my roots grow out, you don't see like a major distinction between like my curly hair and then the rest of it, which a lot of treatments that are more permanent do. So I just kind of like how it kind of gradually goes away. I wish I had time to label anything and everything. I know I'm just not that type A of a person to label everything. And I also just think that, and I know that a lot of people, like, especially online, like they label their brushes and stuff like that, but I just think that it kind of messes with the aesthetic of it too. So I'm not interested in doing that. I get my Brazilian blowout treatments done every time I get my hair done, which is every like 3 to 4-ish months. And I've been getting them done ever since Brazilian blowouts came out, and I was like really young. I was like in high school. So I mean, I've been getting Brazilian blowouts for years and years and years. Like I cannot live without them. Which concealer should we use? I have these out. Most companies have an Express, which has a shorter time of how long it lasts. Okay, it's awesome. I love all the benefits of the Brazilian blowout. It's labor intensive too, so like not all salons offer it. I have this YSL All Hours, the Givenchy one, the Gucci one, and then randomly this By Terry one that I don't hear people talk about very often, but it is good. I do like it. It's kind of light for me though. These two are more so like my skin tone, and then the Gucci one has a hint of a pink undertone. So that's why I like. Thanks, Brittany. I know you got me, girl. How is that Gucci concealer? Okay, Sylvia, let me use the Gucci concealer for you as I'm applying it. They say it increases the rate of cancer. Supposedly because it's formaldehyde free, it's like not bad for you, but I'm not going to claim that it's not bad for you because I really like don't know. I haven't looked into reading up on the ingredients or whatever. I kind of just tell myself like it probably does have some junk in it, but at the same time, like I'm so obsessed with the treatment and what it does to my hair. My hair is so hard to manage without it that if it increases my rate of cancer, like I'm honestly fine with that. Like I know that it's an unpopular opinion, but I'll take it. It's that good to me, but I'm not like encouraging anybody else to do it like by any means. The Gucci concealer was discontinued? I didn't know that. I've heard mixed things about it, but I like it. I'm not gonna say like it's holy grail. It's light coverage, Sylvia, but I love the way it wears. It wears really well. It's like a serum-y consistency. It's elegant though. The matte foundation was horrid for my skin. I wonder which matte foundation you're talking about. Everything has junk. Yeah, so true. Everything has dyes. That's just too extra for people who don't. Oh, the By Terry one was discontinued. Okay, thank you, Peach. That makes sense. That's probably why it's not talked about very much, so let me not dwell on that one. These two I find are kind of similar. I like them because they are closer to my actual skin tone. The coverage is like a little bit like lighter weight. They're not like super full coverage. They still have kind of like a skin-like consistency. But yeah, I like these to just kind of conceal around my face, especially if I'm wearing a more lighter weight foundation like I am today. The Chanel Le Beige foundation doesn't have too much coverage. I also use my Chanel foundations sparingly given the price, and also just because I use them more so for the finish and not necessarily like to cover everything, and that's what I like to go in with the concealer for. And because these are more like lighter weight concealers, I like to kind of let them sit for a little bit. You're a tad worried that Givenchy one won't do so well on your oily skin. Yeah, I mean, it's not the most mattifying one. It's like not the glowiest one. I have very oily skin as well, so I can understand that. Brittany says, which is why I'm picky on eyeshadows and anything powder because the amount of talc. I know talc is controversial. You cannot remember the name of the Gucci foundation. Oh, yeah. No, I know what Gucci foundation you're talking about. They have a like a mattifying one, right? I don't own that one, so I can't speak about it. Hey, Yasmin. Welcome, girl. How are you? Thanks for joining the live. I just find a curly hair salon. I beg, your life will be changed for the better. Yeah, Peach, I'm gonna start to wear my hair probably curlier more often when the bleach in my hair wears off. Cause I was blonde the decade of my 20s. So my hairstylist says that my bleach is probably around like right here right now. I can't tell honestly where it is, but once the bleach grows out completely, I will be able to start to like rock my curls more, which I used to before I bleached it a lot more often. It's just that if I did it right now, I just think that they would be like half, it's just like the curl, you know, it won't be like the same even consistent curl. And curly hair is also quite high maintenance too. I don't like that about it either. I just have to put a ton of product in it, but I will say the longer my hair is, the easier it is to manage in general. girl. How do people wave to other people? Oh, Food Day Lover, if you go up to the top arrow and you click on whoever is on the live, if you guys follow each other, it'll give you an option to wave. I can't wave back to y'all because my phone is flipped so that you guys can watch this live better quality. So yeah, that's why I have my monitor down here and I'm watching myself on my iPad. The new no, I haven't, Yasmin. Thanks for asking. I have not tried the new Chanel foundation in the black bottle. But yes, Yasmin, how was your ugly sweater party? We all want to know what Peach said, but it's also Noelle's patience for her. So Brittany, that's so true. It's also like the amount of time that I save wearing my hair like this as opposed to curly. You would think that just rocking my natural curls is easier, but it's not necessarily easier because first of all, it always looks better on the same day that you wash your hair because not washing your hair multiple days, like the curl doesn't stay as well when it's just like your natural curls. It's not ever like, it doesn't look good as the first day. Also, I know that it's like hard to explain and probably like to understand where I'm coming from, but there is something about me wearing suits every day for court that I just feel straighter hair looks more polished. Like if I were to just like rock like my natural curl. The best way I could describe it is this just gives a more polished look. I have this whole system with my hair. So like I'll wash it like on a Sunday and then I'll wear it straight pretty much that whole week and use like dry shampoo throughout. And then I try to only wash my hair every 2 weeks. So then like the next week I'm wearing it up in a bun or in a ponytail, actually like every like week and a half. And so it just, it helps me prolong the amount of time between washes to not wear my hair like curly, you know? I would probably be having to wash my hair like almost every day if I wore it curly. Brittany has allergies toward talc. Curly hair is so high maintenance, totally. I could pull up with the recommendations right now. Thank you, Peach. It's good to know that you feel what I, like you understand the curly hair struggle. Yasmin has curly hair too. It can be annoying, totally. It's high maintenance to wear your hair curly for sure. And then I also like to like use my like heatless hair tie bun overnight, so it makes things easier. That's how I have this flip in my hair today, is due to that heatless way that I put my hair up in a bun. So in the morning it just saves me time. So those are kind of like all the reasons why. And then like I also heard a dermatologist talk about online about how, I guess it wasn't about talc, it might have been about aluminum, but maybe the same kind of thing applies where people start making like a frenzy out of, there becomes like this like whole war on how deodorants are going aluminum free and natural and all that. The studies say that aluminum in large quantities consumed cause cancer, and people hear that and they run with it and they are like, oh, you know, any deodorant with aluminum causes cancer and blah blah blah, but you're gonna be fine just wearing deodorant with aluminum. It's never gonna be to that level to where it has a serious concern. So I don't know, I just kind of like take everything with a grain of salt. Look, if I start worrying about the microplastics in everything I drink, my food being organic, I'm just living life, you know. To a certain point, I'm just kind of like, F it. To each his own. That's a hot take. New to Food Day, thank you for saying this. I have to be careful with Chanel foundations. Oh yeah, I wore a sample of the new Chanel foundation yesterday. The center of my face was shiny last night before I washed my face. I didn't prime or set because I wanted to see how the foundation wore alone. Okay, it was shiny. Interesting. Keisha, if you try it again and set it with powder, I am curious to know what your continued thoughts are on that, because I did see that new foundation come out and I'm curious about it, because in general, Chanel foundations are very nice. They just, you know, there's certain formulas that cater to different types of skin, and they're not always consistent across their foundations as far as their shade range goes. That's another complaint I have with Chanel foundations, but if you can find your right shade and your right consistency, they're good. Thank you for sharing that. Your hair struggle is the complete opposite, says Sylvia. It's so sleek that it's hard to hold all my curls all day. Yeah, I can understand that. Honestly, hair is a struggle, right? Like you always want what you can't have. All those lawsuits have completely made companies paranoid. Exactly. Same with like Olaplex. You're both welcome. It's beautiful. When I first applied it, it wore for over 10 hours. They wear really well. You have a generous sample, so you'll try it again. The shade range is lacking. There's nothing between 70 and 71. I think the shade range for Chanel and luxury beauty companies has improved, but it still has a long way to go. What else should we try? Let us do a little bit of bronzer, shall we? Why don't we do a little bit of the Dior contour stick. I've been enjoying it. Honestly, like this thing is gonna last forever because it's so pigmented, right? So I don't feel bad using it because it's just, I don't see how anybody's ever gonna finish this whole stick. And a little bit goes a really long way. I like tugging my skin back to avoid patchiness. If you get patchiness, try that. I don't know if going from 3 to 5 shades for non-pale people is an improvement, but we keep settling for it. I know they have a long way to go for sure, but I definitely recall back in the day, their shade range was even worse. I've been hearing the same thing about that Sarah Creole brand, that their shade range isn't very good, although I did just order a couple of their concealers during the Sephora sale. I'll keep y'all posted on that since I was curious to try the concealer. I saw somebody review the lipstick and she was like, this is no different than a L'Oreal lipstick. She wasn't impressed with the lipstick formula. She said it was nothing groundbreaking. Today is the last day at the Sephora sale. Oh yeah, it's the 15th. I put my order in a couple days ago because I don't know why I thought the last day was Friday. Clearly I was off. The Le Beige had the most shades, especially with the new olive ones released this year. Yeah, this Le Beige one that I used today, they did release some olive shades, that's right. It's so true, Sylvia. When you have an olive undertone, like me and Sylvia, it's kind of hard to find your right shade match. It's not just like the shade, it's like the undertone has to be right too. You don't use powder often, but when you do, you need a good one. I like recommend different powders depending on the person's needs and wants. It just kind of depends. There's some powders that I would recommend for like baking if you have like really oily skin, and then if you have really dry skin and you just kind of want to lightly set, not necessarily recommend the same one. I'm getting some patchiness here. I'm wondering why. Sometimes this contour stick is so pigmented. You know what? I did use my tretinoin last night. So every time I use my tretinoin, you know, the next day or like 2 days later, I could just tell this whole like makeup just doesn't look as good. The struggle is real. If anybody uses tretinoin and can relate, that's, I think, what's going on here. MAC Lancome Estee Lauder Pressed Powder recommends Alicia. The YSL Loose Powder, so I can imagine their pressed powder. Yeah, peach and olive aren't necessarily recommended. They're only 3 to 4 olive shades. Luxury shade ranges. Yeah, Yasmin, for real. Represented perfectly in emojis. And it also depends, like if you want pressed powder with coverage in it too, because if you're looking for almost like a powder foundation, that'd be different too, you know? I feel like Chanel's powder foundations run really warm. You never find like good neutrals. Dior has some good powder foundations. Hourglass always has like my favorite finishing powders. Huda Beauty is my favorite setting powder for baking. You're decluttering your Dior Powder No Powder. That one is just too finicky for me. It just always got hard panned on me. Plus, I think they discontinued it. Valentino is the only company that I feel gets my shade right, says Sylvia. That's to everything: foundation, concealer, blushes, etc. The main complaint I have about Valentino is that they only have one shade in their bronzer, which is a shame. Say less, I have my Hourglass powders. Yeah, exactly. Hourglass. People sleep on Hourglass, but that will always be a top. Chanel Loose Powder is amazing. It does. I have 2 shades, 20 and 30. It's one of my favorites. It does oxidize. That's why I don't use a Chanel powder all the time for baking. It could change the shade of your concealer for sure. Y'all see that patchiness right there? It's really bothering me. I like it to just lightly set all over the face because it just has a really pretty finish to it. It's nice and lightweight and it wears really well throughout the day. That patchiness is driving me insane. And I want to say it's because of my tretinoin. You know what it also might be though? I know what it is. I just got Botox today, y'all. That right there, I could tell that that's where my dad injected the Botox, because my dad does my Botox. If y'all didn't see, I put a reel up recently about showing him doing it. And that's what that is. If y'all can see, that's the patchiness. And I'm not even supposed to be. He told me not to mess with my skin the rest of the day, and look at me over here like pouncing, going in ham. House Labs has really pulled up for my peach and olive. Undertone Sisters and Brothers. Yeah, actually, I am really happy with the House Labs concealer. I'm trying to see if I have it here handy. I think I have it put away. I have the House Labs concealer and I like the peachy undertone in it. That's part of the reason why I liked this Gucci concealer, is because it has a little bit of a peachy undertone. See, it's so serumy. I think I might have even just gotten some on my sweater here, but it's a very thin formula. Thinner than the Natasha Denona High Glam concealer, if y'all are familiar with that one. My dad says I don't need to wait to put makeup on as long as I don't put like a lot of pressure on it. So I don't know. But then again, it's just like at home Botox. Like, so we don't follow all the protocols necessarily. You stick to Hermes pressed powder and Guerlain loose powder. Ooh, I don't have the Grwm loose powder. And I was also thinking, yeah, I don't have the YSL loose powder either. I'm wondering which one that one is. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that one. It's just something about the day after using tretinoin where the makeup just does not sit right on my skin. Ooh, the meteorites. Yeah, the shade's just restocked. I did see your post on that. The Grwm powder replaced the Givenchy one. And it doesn't oxidize because Grwm is, I don't know, sometimes it's known to like run warm. Their bronzers run really warm. The foundation runs warm. This is the Chantecaille lip definer in the shade Passion, by the way. Most of my daily makeup has become House Labs. It's a problem because it's expensive, but I need better peach undertones to hit the market. No, get the translucent one. Okay. Is it hard to get? Because I feel like I don't really see anybody talk about it or it being sold. Usually, if I'm not getting my makeup from Sephora, I'm usually getting it from Nordstrom. And if it's not on either of those two sites, the only other exception I can think of where I get makeup is like Beautylish. I mean, every once in a blue moon I'll order something from like Saks or Macy's, but hey Pranning, how are you? Thanks for joining the live. If they're having like a sale, but I try to get everything on sale. I love Nordstrom's policies, yes, the best. It was hard for me to find my shade match in the House Labs foundation too, which is why I just stuck to the concealer I showed y'all, but I have like the shade like 00. It's like the white shade in the House Labs foundation. I didn't bother to continue trying. And because we're going to do a bright lip, I'm going to use this Sarah Creel lip primer. I've been liking it. For lipstick, I brought out the Westman Atelier one because I don't use this one enough and it is a really beautiful formula. So I have the shade Le Rouge. I'm not done with my eyes yet. I still want to put like a crease shade in there, but I can't wait to get this lipstick on. Yeah, okay, Yasmin, you have olive undertones too and can't find your right shade with the House Labs. Not only is the shade range problematic with the House Labs foundation, it's too glowy for me too anyway. I have oily skin and I just tend to go for more mattifying foundation formulas. Like the Prada one, I was really impressed with their shade range around, at least around my shade. They had a few options that could have worked for me for sure. And that's more of like my jam when it comes to the finish as well. It's like more on like the natural to like soft matte side, which I enjoy. And it just wears better. I don't know. The House Labs foundation didn't like necessarily blow me out of the water as far as like the way it wore throughout the day and everything. Maybe in part because it's glowy on me. I do enjoy the concealer in part because I enjoy the shade I got in it that has that peachier undertone. Yasmin, don't feel bad. There's so many foundations out there. You don't need the House Labs one. No offense to anybody who enjoys that formula. I just think it was like so overhyped, you know, when it came out. Oh, product looked greasy on you over time? Ooh, well then, yeah, the House Labs one will probably look even greasier on you because the finish on the House Labs one is definitely less mattifying. It's kind of fun to get into like mixing concoctions, but like, yeah, nobody wants to deal with that when you're like just trying to slap something on and you're in a rush, right? If I had all the time in the world to just sit here and do my makeup and just have fun with it, sure, I'll get into mixing up formulas and stuff like that. But if you can avoid it, right? Like sometimes it's inevitable just because the shade of my skin tone changes throughout the year. So I definitely have foundations that work for me when I'm lighter, other ones that work for me better when I'm darker. But I have so many foundations at this point now that I don't need to be like mixing, you know? If you don't have that much makeup and you just want, you know, to have one or two different foundations, I can understand that. All right, let's hope that lipstick doesn't get on my retainers. If it does, y'all have to tell me. That's a good lip to wear out because it doesn't budge. The lip. Thank you, y'all. Yeah, and I'm not even going to be wearing this makeup for very long anyway, so we're just going to church. Peach says, I stand by the House Labs foundation with my life. Even with oily combo skin, it just doesn't ever look bad on me. I'm so glad to hear that it works out for you. Oh, Sylvia, the lip is everything. Thank you. Thank you, y'all. I'm just trying to think about which color to put in the crease just because my crease just feels naked right now. Just because I had this out, I was eyeing it, but I don't think these are the tones we're going for. I don't know. Maybe that one in the crease? Nah, huh. I think I need something more neutral. I do have the House Labs bronzer, speaking of which. The shade 6 has a nice olivey undertone. Maybe we can, speaking of House Labs, just use this one. A red lip to church. Oh, I am being risky today. I know. Well, see, I was so tempted to do a blue eyeshadow look after I saw how beautiful it turned out on Brittany last night. If Brittany's still in here. See, this is a problem. It starts to get on my retainers. But you know, I thought maybe I'll tone it down by wearing black. I just feel like doing a red lippy today because it's festive and it's the holidays, so why not? Yeah, there you go, Brittany. Yeah, your look yesterday, oh, stunning, stunning. You're so talented. A blue eyeshadow in church, blasphemous. Yeah, I know. So it was either blue eyeshadow or it was a red lip, right? So I'm basically being conservative. Yeah, it's like, I love looks like that, like Brittany showcased for us so beautifully yesterday. Just wish I had more places to wear looks like where can I use like sparkly blue eyeshadow? Like I certainly can't wear it to work. I'm such a homebody, like to an extreme. I dodge social situations like the plague. So maybe that's part of the problem. You actually have to go out to have opportunities to wear makeup like that, right? Yasmin, did you tell us how your ugly sweater party was? If Yasmin's still, yeah, Yasmin's still on here. Brit's look last night is just fire. Koyuto Kalinsky, are you going to pick up the new one from Bobo? You know what, Natsufude? I think so. I don't know how much it's going for, but I think so. It's that like nice 3D angle shape that I do really like. I think Yasmin on here, she doesn't like the 3D shape, but I do. I'm a fan of it. So I think I'm going to. Natsufude, thank you for asking. This is the red tail one. I didn't need this one. This was a stupid purchase because I really don't like short handle brushes, but the hairs, I will say, do not disappoint. I think what did it for me was the fact that I have major FOMO from not being able to pick up the KZ series. I have one brush out of the KZ series. It's the highlight one, which is like the tapered one. I always get confused if it's between the 4 and the 5. I think it's the 5. That's the tapered highlight one, but the 4 is the one that I really want. That's just like the more of like the bulb shape. But somebody said that this one gave them vibes of like the KZ. It's like the bigger, I want to say it's maybe the 2. That's really what did me over. I have the KZ 5 maybe. The 4 is the round one. That's the one I want. I have the 5. So I at least have one. Tansedo Kazan Scroll. Yeah, I have that one, Yasmin. I have 1 or 2 of those. It's incredible. Super soft. And so silky. It reminds me of this one. So the hairs and the bristles on this, like in the bundling and everything, it doesn't disappoint. I love the cute little design here. I just wish it came with a longer handle. So I need to stop clowning myself and buying these brushes with short handles because I just don't enjoy them as much as I do long handles. I've also been liking this Tansedo one. What is this? Their white Canadian scroll, the CC20. I've been liking this one for blush. Let's throw some of this bronzer in the crease, shall we? I'm gonna use Sonia, I think, today. The Sonia G little small round one here. That one, yes, thank you. Yes, Keisha, this one is similar to the KZ3. That's the one I was thinking about. But the Koyuto maintains the tapered shape. Oh, does the KZ3 not maintain its shape? That one's like the large tapered one out of the series, right? The KZ3. Thank you, Yasmin. White Pine Scroll. I think Chikuhodo KZ hairs are less delicate than the Tansedo. Yeah, clown recognizes clown. Yeah, those Tansedo bristles are so delicate. I hope this is gonna be a good crease shade for this look. This is why like a one and done doesn't work for me. Like I have to put something in the crease, but it could be my bronzer, just like I'm doing right now. And just even that helps because I don't have too much of a natural crease. Like my eyes aren't really deep set, which is kind of why I like to give the illusion that they're more deep set, I think. Just give them more dimension. Yours blooms beautifully, but I wish it stayed more tapered. I could see that. Well, you're lucky to own it, especially if you have multiple in the series. It's a lot airier than Chikuhodo's. It looks great. Thank you, Yasmin. I like this bronzer by House Labs. It's just not one that I think to like reach for that often because I have so many other bronzers in my collection, but it's a good one if it's like baked, but you know, the type of formula that's not very powdery. The way it sits on the skin is kind of like seamless and it blends out really easily. This patchiness is driving me nuts, but it is what it is. You know, this La Prairie powder, I know everybody raves about it, so I feel like it's blasphemy for me to even say it, but it's almost not mattifying enough for me. Did anybody ever try this? Remember how much hatred this Charlotte Tilbury loose powder got because of the smell? Ugh, she does not smell very nice. probably why they discontinued her. You see no patches. Thank you, Alicia. I don't know if you were here for the whole patchiness ordeal, but I can still see some right here, but can't do anything about it. That's one of my pet peeves. I cannot stand getting patchiness. And it's like the worst when I'm in a rush to go to work. I'm experimenting and something doesn't play right with each other or sit well. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's where I get so stressed out. Because that's the point where like you want to like take your makeup off and restart, but like when you don't have time. Speaking of, just because the Chanel loose powder came up in discussion, I'll showcase it. It's been a little bit since I've used it anyway. See, it does have a nice finish. I like how it sits nicely on the skin. It's nice and blurring. It does always seem to happen last minute too, right? Sylvia, you feel me? The other day it happened when I walked my dogs over my lunch break, because during the lunch hour I come home and I walk my dogs on most days. It was just like abnormally hot that day and I didn't prepare for it. So it just like made these like indents from my sunglasses, and I was heading back to court and I was like trying to fix it with the CL concealer because it has an SPF of 30, I think, and it made it worse. Oh my gosh. And then I tried to use the CL powder, you know, because it was like removing my sunscreen underneath potentially, right? So I wanted to keep it covered right here where I get like the most freckles. And then you should see this whole area was just all cakey from like me. So, okay, I will say like that's the good thing about this Gucci concealer, because it's such a lightweight consistency. This one I've had pretty good luck touching up like that throughout the day. It was horrific. I was like, oh my gosh. And I was running late. I like wanted to cry and I was just like, okay, well, hopefully people won't look that close. And I just fixed it as well as I could and I was on my way. Some days my makeup just doesn't look very good, but oh well, what can you do? Using a silicone-based concealer like the House Labs would have been the move. Okay, thank you for that advice, Kat. I appreciate that. Next time I'm going to try that because you're right. That sounds like a good idea. That concealer, I will say, hasn't been finicky on me. So that makes sense. Yeah, Sylvia, sorry to... I wasn't trying to sell you on it or anything, but for like that very specific purpose. And just kind of like, you know, the Gucci concealer is good if you ever do like no makeup looks. Let's say you want to do like a no foundation makeup look and you just kind of want to spot conceal and you might just want to hide like a tiny bit of darkness under your eyes. That's where this Gucci concealer comes in, because, you know, if you don't have heavy coverage everywhere else on your face and you don't want to go in with just a heavy coverage concealer, right? Because then it'll just look off. The other concealer that might work well in the same regard is the Armani concealer, because it also is a lightweight consistency. Such a pretty handle. Yeah, isn't it? I love that. The handle on these. Grab your silicone based one next time. Yeah, I know. I need to do better about keeping in mind ingredients in mixtures, because sometimes I just don't think about it and I'm just like, oh, I like this primer. Oh, I like this foundation. And I'm not, you know, on a day-to-day when I'm rushing and slapping things on my face. That's where I need to think, okay, what goes with what? Because I start to have so much makeup, I like to just experiment with different primers and different foundations and mix and match all the time. And that's where accidents happen. Hey, Elizabeth. Thanks so much for joining the live. I'm curious about the Armani concealer too. Yeah, that one's a good one. It's a lighter weight concealer, but it has a lovely finish and it wears well throughout the day. The nose pad situation always makes me think of that part from that movie 12 Angry Men when they said that witness wasn't wearing glasses because she had all those spots in her nose from not wearing glasses. Yeah, I remember that. I reference that movie every once in a while in court when I'm talking to potential jurors. The Tower 28 and the Kulfi concealers don't patch up on me. Okay, I've used the Kulfi one. It's okay. I haven't tried the Tower 28 one. Probably why the House Labs didn't wear on you well either. I love that foundation, but water-based primers aren't always its friend. Okay, so yeah, that could make sense. You love the red lip, Elizabeth? Thank you so much. It is the Westman Atelier lipstick in the shade Le Rouge. And you know, Sephora has this gift set right now with these Westman Atelier lipsticks, and there's 3 shades, and I did pick it up because I have 2 shades in this Westman Atelier lipstick formula, and I do like them enough to have picked up the gift set during the sale, which, as Yasmin reminded us today is the last day if you haven't used your code have it all yet. I'll try to post all these products that I'm using on my LTK after this live too. So if you would like to use any of my affiliate links, I appreciate you. And if you have already, thank you so much. It really helps my channel out. Yeah, I do mainly have oily skin. See, that's the thing. Water-based primers are less finicky, but at the same time, like I like silicone-based primers because they're better for pores and texture. My Cousin Vinny is my preferred courtroom movie. That one's a good one too. You know, my favorite courtroom movie is Legally Blonde. That one beats out all lawyer movies ever, in my opinion. The Pat McGrath foundation. I like the Pat McGrath foundation. And I think Yasmin on here also is a fan of the Pat McGrath foundation. The one thing I will say is in the Pat McGrath complexion line, just the shades tend to run very warm on me. So that's just my main complaint. Other than that, the finish of the Pat McGrath foundation is lovely. I wanted to see if I had the concealer here handy. I think I put it away. But yeah, I have the concealer and it just is yellowy. So I think like the shades just tend to run warm. But if you can find your right shade, it's like a lightweight, like serum-y formula, but the coverage and the finish is very nice. Pat McGrath is your second favorite foundation too. Legally Blonde rocks. Love it. I know, it really inspired me as a little girl watching Legally Blonde. It depends on your layering. The way you layer balances the primers. I know there's so much to it, right, Brittany? Pat McGrath foundation is quite glowy on me, but I do like it. I love the concealer. Yeah, hey Bree, how are you, girl? Welcome to the live. Yeah, it's kind of orange on you. Yeah, same. They tend to, just Pat McGrath complexion products in general tend to, like, same with the concealer. Very good, but very thin, and you need to work quickly with it because it dries down pretty quickly with all the alcohol in it. So true. You got to shake it up because it separates easily too. Should we do a little bit of a blush? Just a little bit. What do we think about Intense Ruby? Would this be a good one for this lippy? This is the limited edition one. I kind of want to go in with Squirrel for this one because she is bright. So this is the Beautylish Yano series, brush 5. It's the tapered one. The red squirrel one would have been good with this too, but this one's just a little bit smaller, so you can just be more targeted about it. I think it's not very intense ruby, but it would look good with the lip. Thanks, Peach, for your input. I wish y'all could talk to me. The Yano series is nice. It is nice, right? It's kind of underrated. I will say the handle is a little bit lighter weight than what I would prefer. Hey, Tortor! Thank you so much for joining the live. How are you? I love your YouTube channel. Tortor on here is an amazing makeup artist. I think he lives in the Philippines, if I'm not mistaken. The Yano 2 is one of my favorite brushes. Is that large one that has like that kind of unique slant? I have that one too. The handle is light. Yeah, a little bit lighter than my preference. Yeah, I think this blush works. There was a number of blushes that I could have used. I had recently picked up the Dior one in the shade Cherry. That would have been a good one too. Probably. Red blushes are kind of having their moment right now, aren't they? Because of that Victoria's Secret makeup artist that said she used red blush on the models back in the day. Oh my gosh, that patchiness on my forehead, y'all, is killing me. I'm hoping it's not showing up as bad on camera, but this is what I mean by the perfectionist in me, wanting things perfect. I'm just gonna go in with like a small brush with a teeny bit more of that foundation, because maybe with just all that tapping, we kind of lost some of that coverage. Noelle, I look good. Thank you so much. Noelle, you look good. Thank you, Sylvia. I appreciate that. My potty mouth would get your lives demonetized, so it's probably not the best time. Just a comment box. Aw. I have a potty mouth too in real life. I try to definitely tame it down on social media. But luckily, my job, like obviously I have to clean it up in court, but like around my office, we all just have potty mouths. Even like my bosses have potty mouths, so I'm not judged at work in that regard because of the whole adversarial nature of it all. I didn't need a new foundation, but I needed the Dior stick foundation, so I ordered it. So excited for it to come in. Thanks for sharing, Elizabeth. I was tempted to use that today, but I've been using it a lot lately, so I ended up going for the Chanel Le Beige one because it's a good color match for me right now. But I've been enjoying this one as well. I'm glad to hear that it's been working out for you. Or I mean, not that it's been working out for you, that you ordered it and are excited about it. I'm glad it's on its way to you, and hopefully you got that nice discount right now going on at Sephora for 20% off. Sylvia, that makes you feel better. I have to control my sailor mouth most of the time. Yeah, I know. Trust me, girl. Growing up with 5 brothers too, it's like, I know how it is. I understand. Eyeliner, shall we? Ooh, and then I'm gonna have to run, y'all. I could be here all day. This is always how it goes. This is Coco by Victoria Beckham. Satin Kajal eyeliner. Yeah, the Chanel, the Le Beige, it's a good one, right? Yeah. I use the F-bomb as a comma sometimes. Raised Canadian. I don't have that filter anymore. Fun times. Yeah, it's like a given when you're a sports fan, I'm sure. Just gonna slap on a little bit of bottom lash mascara. Like I said, I have Lashify eyelashes on my eyelashes I mentioned earlier in this live. And good news is that I also recently became a Lashify affiliate. So I think that they are giving me a coupon code for my people. If y'all are interested in that, feel free to DM me about it. Because right now, off the top of my head, I want to say it's MakeupEsquire, but I can't specifically remember. If y'all are interested in Lashify, I have a YouTube video on how I apply my cluster lashes. But that's why I only do bottom lash mascara. And that's probably everything we have time for. I want to do a little bit of a highlighter. Let's do Gucci, just real quick. And then I really have to run. I'm going to just use this Sonia G from the Summer Koi. Put a little bit in the inner corner. That's pretty, isn't it? A little inner corner pop. I love this step. I have to do this step every day in my makeup routine. A little bit of a brow bone moment. Is it like a millennial thing to do the brow bone highlight? I didn't even really contour my nose today. It's just gonna have to do. I don't really have time to get all up and involved in the nose contour. You can almost get away with having less makeup everywhere else, right? If you are wearing a red lippy. I pulled out this highlighter. I might as well use it. Just a little bit on the cheekbones. And then I'm really gonna have to run. Between waking up in the morning and going to bed at night, I'm completely unfiltered. We love to hear that, Peach. You should be yourself and only surround yourself with people who accept you for yourself. It's kind of what I'm trying to get better at myself, entering my 30s era. All right, y'all, that's the look. Thank you so much for joining me on this live today. So lovely to see you all here. Unless you're going to the Church of Full Coverage, I think you can get away with less makeup for sure. Yeah, if it weren't for these lives, honestly, I would probably go to church with like extremely minimal makeup. I never feel the need to do myself all up for church. Growing up, my mom always encouraged me to put a little bit of something on. Like, she's like, aren't you gonna put on at least mascara? Thank you, everyone. Y'all are so sweet. I already put perfume on earlier, so I'm just using the Gucci Flora Gorgeous Orchid, which I've been loving. It smells really good. And that's it. That's the look. I look stunning. Thank you. Y'all are so sweet. Well, I hope everyone has a lovely rest of your Sunday. I try to get up on here and do these lives every Sunday at 3:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So thank you all for joining today. Oh, I love everyone. Y'all are so sweet. I have so much fun doing these lives. Good to see everyone. Bye. Love you.